Talk, shop, pop, movies.
Ahoy there, this is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile, and if you're a convicted cinephile yourself, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel down below. On my channel, I like to talk, shop, and pop open, that is, movies and physical media. And I have yet another 3 favorite Criterion recommendation video for you. Today's category, it's not a genre like most of them. I am going to be picking my 3 favorite films that I own and love in the Criterion collection that are also on the AFI Top 100 Films of All Time list. I honestly can't remember if all 3 of these are on the original list. One of them may only be on the remade list. They did a decade later, but it's on it, one of the 2 lists nonetheless, and it deserves to be. So let's start with that one. The classic 1957 film, 12 Angry Men. Yes, I know this has a 4K now, I believe, from Kino Lorber. I have this lovely, lovely Blu-ray from Criterion. This looks and sounds amazing. I'd say if you already have this, you probably don't need the 4K because there's a lot of good special features on this one that I don't think are on the 4K. The best thing about that 4K is that it comes with the TV remake from Kino Lorber, which I own separate from this just because I wanted to see that, and it is very good as well. I prefer the original because it's literally the same movie, just with another fantastic ensemble cast. But there is the booklet there with Henry Fonda, and then the great Jack Warden and all the other fantastic ensemble actors. But yeah, if you don't know what 12 Angry Men is, long story short, it is a jury of men trying to decide the fate of a very young man, whether or not he murdered his father. And it's all in one location, essentially, with the exception of like the last shot. And Henry Fonda is the lone man who says the boy is innocent, and then the rest of the movie is him trying to convince the rest of them to basically think a little more about the topic and figure out ways of reasonable doubt to exist. So this movie is fantastic. For a shot in one location, black and white, very quiet movie from the 50s, it is one of the most riveting movies you'll ever watch, in my opinion, and I've rewatched it several times. 12 Angry Men. Spine number, can't forget to do that, right? 591. There it is. The second one here could have easily been on my top 3 horror or my top 3 thrillers, but just to not have anyone complain about what genre it is, I'll put it in this one. Silence of the Lambs. This is an amazing set here. Once again, it has a 4K from Kino Lorber, but with fewer special features. A lot of the Criterion movies have been going over to Kino, which is, perfectly fine, but you can't beat this set here. The packaging is just glorious. This is number 13. This is the oldest number that I personally own from the collection. So this had a DVD. I used to have the DVD as well at one point. Beautiful digibook packaging. I love the ink blot artwork. Very beefy book in this one compared to some of them. There's the inside with both discs, and then the Death's Head Moth artwork there. I mean, if you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs, what have you been doing for the last 32 years of your life, honestly? One of my all-time favorite movies, not just, because it's on the AFI list and won Best Picture and all that, blah, blah, blah. A movie I actually grew up watching to an extent. Directed by Jonathan Demme, starring the Oscar winners Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, and the should have been nominated for an Oscar Ted Levine. How did he not get nominated for playing Buffalo Bill when this movie essentially won everything else? It's one of only 3 movies in Oscar history to win the top 5 prizes of picture, director, actress, actor, and screenplay, and it deserves it. So Silence of the Lambs, amazing AFI Top 100 film. Third here, this is all beat up in the corner. I didn't really look at that stupid overly tight plastic wrap. Anyways, when we're talking about the AFI Top 100 Greatest Movies of All Time, you might as well start with, let's end with the start. The number 1 greatest movie of all time, according to the AFI Top 100, both times they did it, Citizen Kane. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the simple artwork. I don't mind it because it's like, hey, I know what that is just from looking at it. Isn't that the point? This is from 1941, 119 minutes, and it is a newer release, number 1104. This did have, I think it had a Laserdisc, but it's one of only like 2 or 3 Criterion Collection movies to ever be released on VHS and or Betamax as well. Yes, there were VHS Criterions. Watch that video I mentioned I did last year, where I went over the history of the Criterion Collection and such. But this is a beautiful digibook packaging. The black and white cinematography in this movie is beyond gorgeous. And this thing opens really weird. So you got the K, and it folds open, and you got the A with Mr. Wells there. Then it folds open again, and you got the N with the younger Mr. Wells there. And then it goes top-wise to show chubby older Orson Welles. So you get every version of him in the movie, and underneath my hand there, awkwardly, is the E. So this is a 3-disc set, as opposed to the typical 1 or 2 disc sets you get. And this is the 4K. And slitted inside here is a nice chunky booklet with quotes and what have you. So there's the full Citizen Kane image. Yeah, this movie, you know, a lot of people argue, it's not that good, it's overrated, blah, blah, blah. It's not something you can watch every day, obviously. Is it my favorite movie ever? No. Is it the best movie of all time? Who's to say, you know? But what it did for storytelling in film is undeniable, and that's why I respect the hell out of it. And it is one of the most... I cannot get the slipcover back on. I gotta go the other way. You told you it was bent on the one side, and now it's being all stupid. Jeepers criminy. There we go. But yeah, the visual storytelling is outstanding. The shot compositions are amazing to look at. Like, just as freeze frame images, this movie is beautiful. And the Oscar-winning screenplay, which is the only thing this movie won at the Oscars, was for its original screenplay, is very ahead of its time. Back in those days, they didn't really have non-linear storytelling in movies, like Pulp Fiction, for example. But Citizen Kane was one of the first to do it and be successful at it. So it basically paved the way for movies like that to exist and be respected and understood. If you haven't seen Citizen Kane, once again, what have you been doing for the last 88 years or whatever the hell old it is? So those are the 3 movies I grabbed for my 3 favorites from the AFI Top 100 in my personal Criterion collection. We got 12 Angry Men, Silence of the Lambs, and Citizen Kane. All classics, all at least nominated for Best Picture as well. Great recommendations. I can't... even if you don't want to grab these Blu-rays from Criterion, do yourself a favor and at least get the Kino Lorber 4Ks, if that's more your speed, of 12 Angry Men and Silence of the Lambs, because they're amazing movies that you need to have in your collection, and I personally think they are endlessly rewatchable, especially given their subject matters. So, I will have more of these. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.